All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do our sound and visual check. Can you hear and see everything okay? I'm waiting for that response. I think you can. Looks good on my end. Let's check. Hello. Thank you, Hoop. Thanks, Hoop is in here tonight. Good. Everything's starting off great. So let's just jump into it. We have an hour and a half, and sometimes the time goes by really, really fast. A few things before I get started. As always, there is our Topstep risk disclosure. It's slow markets. I'm Coach Dakota, and everything I say is for educational purposes only. Do not copy any of my trades. Despite what you guys see on social media, no sense of following trades and using this as a signals class. Few things as I go about this. Before I started, I have two positions. I am long Bitcoin. You can see I am long Bitcoin in a demo account, and I'm also long the Nikkei, NKD. It's the Japanese market. So let's get started. We're going to go through our rapid fire. Everyone in here, they can keep an eye on this as well. Long Bitcoin, and I am long the Nikkei. So let's get started. NASDAQ daily chart. Our regular rapid fire, we'll review NASDAQ, we'll review crude oil, we'll talk about the Nikkei, of course, and then we will talk about gold and then touch base a little bit on Bitcoin. And as of last week, or as of yesterday, actually, traders wanted me to go more about some overnight strategy, and we will do exactly that. We'll take a look at some overnight strategy in slow markets. We're going to kind of get back to that. I was doing more and more of it. I kind of got out of it, and I think it's a good thing to start talking more about strategy, talking about overnight trades, and all that fun stuff. So, NASDAQ. What a day in the NASDAQ. I woke up this morning and you can see this is the daily chart on the NASDAQ. And when I woke up this morning, we were selling down towards 400. We were, breaking through, trying to break through 400. This was Friday's, you can see this ugly candlestick from the 15th, which it was Friday, right? Yeah, it was Friday. This very bearish day. And we were trying to break through that. So I went into the day with a bearish mindset, looking for the market to maybe find some follow through, looking for this market to maybe come down here and test some of this lower side, like around 250s, maybe 300s. That's where I was kind of seeing this market go with all the chaos that was coming in with, what was it? News and headlines. So I'm like, okay, this market has a chance to continue down. I was wrong. I took a few losses. You guys seen it. It was live in front of everybody. Took some losses. I minus $5,000 today. But still positive for the week, which is great. And here we are. And that is a very bullish candle. Today was very bullish. We do have NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. So the NVIDIA earnings is definitely going to be affecting the NASDAQ, where there's a lot of people waiting. There's a lot of people watching. Typically, it's, we had planned, or at least I was expecting this week to be very quiet outside of, that unexpected headline news or any other unexpected events. It was set up to be a quiet week. And typically during a quiet week, you see the market kind of go slow and drift up and to the right. Well, today was not that. We came down, tested, broke that low, and immediately rejected, rallied all the way back up. And it looks like we got as high as, almost 800. And then tonight, we did open up around 670, and it's a zone. I'll take a look better when we zoom in. But we broke through the 800s. We're sitting above 800s right now. And so this is a pretty bullish market. One thing that I was watching to see was, was this going to... Oh, we got to set this one back up. Was this going to become resistance right here in these upper 700s? No. Looks like we're breaking through and holding above that tonight. Pretty bullish. It's another beautiful example of, buy the dip. Buy the dip. And sometimes it's like you need to follow your own advice. That's how I kind of felt today. I'm like, wow, the power of hindsight is such a beautiful thing where you look back at this and say, yeah, you know what? Buy the dip. That's all. That's as simple as it was. We're in the buy the dip market. When there's a lot of fear in this market, be greedy when others are fearful. When there's a lot of fearful, that could bring opportunities for the long side. I was looking for a little bit lower. I didn't get it. We immediately started to rally. We're up, over 400 points from the low of the New York session today. And so, yeah, buy the dip, continuing. No reason to think otherwise based on this daily chart. Now, zooming into a 1 hour chart, you kind of see, I'll break it down a little bit more of what I was thinking through, what I was looking at. But you can see we had this major sell-off after we consolidated up here, around 21,200. We've sold all the way off, broke through 2,100, and we sold off down to 20,400. We started to see this bullish market structure as we was talking about. We seen higher low, higher low. We were seeing, higher highs along with these higher lows, and we broke that. We broke through that last night where we tested it, we rallied up, and we broke through it. We broke through October 15th, Friday's massive sit. It was, you can imagine everyone that had stop losses down here, they got ran and immediately rejected. And so I was looking for pullbacks. I was looking for us to say, okay, this market structure is saying that we are no longer making higher highs and higher lows. We are now making lower highs and lower lows. So let's see if we can continue that. We didn't. We immediately broke through everything. We broke through all of the highs that we made, and these highs, this was resistance, and this resistance is now became support. You can see where we broke through that. Funny thing with hindsight is look how simple and easy this was guess what? This was support. Support became resistance. This was resistance. Resistance became support. As you can see there, it's not beautiful, but it's zones where, sure enough, we broke through, we came back, we tested, this was the resistance mark, and here we are, we're testing we're testing, maybe we could come up and see 860s, maybe up into this next level that we could see that became resistance. It is a zone, so maybe there's something to be said where we could extend it like that, because there is a little bit. Let me clear it and make it a little bit more, because then we'll zoom in and kind of fine tune it a little bit. Yeah, that's basically a zone. Who's going to argue over just a few points right there? Maybe it means something to somebody, but as of right now, we're breaking through the highs again tonight in slow markets, and we pushed up as far as 830s, and with earnings tomorrow, can we see this thing run? I'm not sure. It's a difficult one. If we zoom in, I want to be long. I'm still a dip buyer. We'll see what earnings are going to be coming out tomorrow. Might change everything, right? Earnings for a single company might change everything. And that's crazy to say, but sometimes it's like that. All we could do is react based off of what the market's doing. And then now, as we zoom into the 5-minute chart here on the NASDAQ, you could kind of see very basic, simple, straightforward. Sometimes the simplest and the most obvious trades are the easiest ones to take. And they work out. But it seems like sometimes when you take them, they don't always work out. But bullish flag, beautiful bullish flagging pattern. We broke out, we rallied. Now we've came down so far, and so are we going to find resistance? Are we going to continue to come back down? Maybe see these 780s test again? I'm not sure. But so far it's going up and to the right. Where did we open up tonight? Let's see. Where did we open up? It was all the way down here. So let me measure this. I want to look. So we closed right before that 1 hour break that the futures market has, and we opened up around 762. So down here we have rallied quite a bit. We're up. I mean, 0.4% is a decent move, especially before an earning, like the big earnings event tomorrow. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we do get some type of a retracement back down here. I mean, sometimes we see it up 0.5%. I mean, 0.3%. It's not too much, but we'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if we go back and we look over to the left. You could see where this was support back on October 15th. Remember, we're zooming in. We've seen this on the 1 hour chart, and now we're looking at this on the 5-minute chart. And so you can see where it was support. And if we look at the way the market's acting now, we broke back up into this zone. We broke through, and we are now in this zone. And guess what? This was support, and it looks like it's, it might have that opportunity to become support again. And so maybe we look either for continuation back up here to see if we could see 860s. It is slow markets. So once again, with slow markets, not expecting a lot of volatility, not like seeing where these support and resistance level hold up. If we do break through this, maybe we get that return back down to what we were looking at, and that's that open around 760s. And now, as always, if you guys have questions, send them in the chat. We have an amazing moderator who's able to send me those questions, and I try to get to all the questions. I'll let you know if I do see something for an overnight setup. We'll talk more about overnight setups a little bit later on near the end of class. So, another thing is that I'm sure a lot of traders are wondering is, are we due for a pullback, right? That's a 2.25% rally from this low that we've seen, overnight, or basically, what is this? Basically this morning, right? So up 2.25%. We did get a little bit of a pullback right there near around noon, around lunchtime for the NASDAQ. But is that enough of a pullback, 0.4%? I would say so. There's been plenty of times where the market pulls back a little bit and then we just keep going. We just keep going, a short squeeze. Also looking at a few more technical patterns as well. It is going to be, is this a double bottom? Is this a double bottom? From a technical standpoint, yeah, I would say this is a double bottom. We broke through that, and maybe we do need to see, maybe another higher low, looking for some buying opportunities somewhere, and continuing to find buying the dips. I'm trying to think. Yeah, like I said, I'm seeing these markets. I'm thinking through, and so far that is all I see for right now. This is an interesting area of resistance for the NASDAQ, though, because I'm actually looking at this, and we've had some big long wicks back on November 6th. So right after the election, and that big rally during the election, there was a lot of resistance right here. You could see it was met with support again, and that's where it broke down. And so we're at an interesting spot. I don't want to short this market. I don't. If we didn't have earnings, and if today wasn't so bullish and we didn't have this huge rally, then yeah, I would be considering a possibility of a short. So that being said, let's see. We'll see how it goes. I'm a little indecisive on shorts here. I don't want to get long. I don't want to get short at this zone, but that is definitely an opportunity if someone wants to short and they still believe that this market is weak. So moving on, let's take a look at crude oil. All right, crude oil. Man, it didn't move as much as I expected, right? When I woke up and I seen that headline news, and I was coming in to think that crude oil would be up back towards, $72, $73 a barrel and testing these highs based off of that news that we seen this morning. And I seen crude oil was not. It was kind of surprising to me. We are failing to break through and test $70 a barrel. I was really thinking that we could find a lot of a lot of buyers in crude, and I was thinking that crude could rally because of that headline news that we've seen. And yet here we are. It looks like we even went down to 68, and we are failing to hold above this zone. We're failing to hold above 69.50, 69.60s, and I still do not like a trade on crude. Maybe there is something to where is this a megaphone pattern? I don't talk about this very often, where maybe we have some type of a sell-off and we rotate back to the downside. Maybe looking for a bearish move. Maybe we come down and see $67.90, $68 a barrel and find some level of support around here again. I'm not sure. I'm not bullish crude oil, especially after today's price action when I was surprised it didn't move as far as I felt like it should have. But yeah, another example of whatever you think the market's going to do, the market could do whatever it wants to do. So I'm not seeing any opportunities in crude oil. Next, I want to touch base on gold real quick. We'll take a look at gold first, actually. Then we'll talk about Nikkei. So gold, bullish, right? Straight up. I mean, gold is on a tear anymore. We've broke through any resistance. We had that rally last night. From Sunday, we gapped open, and it's been straight up ever since we gapped to the north side, right? Where we gapped up, and we're just going straight up. So now the way that I'm seeing this is wait for pullbacks. I'm just waiting for a pullback. I don't want to short gold anymore. I mean, the next resistance, I mean, maybe we're looking for this thing to come up and test this little point at 56, what is this, 56.51. We're at 20, or what, 56, I mean 26.51, 26.51. We're at 26.41, 42, and I mean, I'm not seeing weakness. If we look at the daily chart here on gold, it was a V shape, right? Is this a V shape recovery? I was on, this is when I was during the London session, we came down and made this, and it's just going up. We had this nice 3-bar reversal on the daily, and ever since we've had that 3-bar reversal, I mean, just bullish. Maybe we come up and test. This is the zone that I'm looking at. Maybe 26.50, 26.52 is that area I'm looking at. So next, let's move on to Nikkei. This is where I am wanting to get into a long. I'm going to zoom into a 5-minute chart and talk about that a little bit. And here we go. We are selling off. I want to get long, or at least I will if we do get back down to this zone where we are pushing down into these 60s. Let me look at the 100-tick chart. This is where I will be long. I'm going to get long if we could see this come in. I might even get in. I'm going to get into one right here at 250s if I could get it. And I'm going to scale into probably 3 or 4 contracts. I'm willing to risk about $1,000 on this one. But I do like the long side on the Nikkei. We did rally up to these 500s, 550s. We're getting this pullback, and just like in a consolidating market, I'm going to look for this to become consolidation. I'm going to go ahead and have my risk. I'm going to put my risk right at 145. We're going to see. Let's see if I could build a position here on the Nikkei. So I'm liking this. I'm looking for this to be a zone, be some support. We had this nice rally on the Nikkei. We're pulling back, and so I'm going to look for us to pull back at an area of support. I'm going to continue. I want to build a position in the Nikkei tonight because I do think that this is a decent position, decent level. We'll see what happens. I want to get into a position at an area or a support and resistance zone. Now remember, these are zones. And the next thing I want to do is I'll continue to build it if I do see like technical analysis. If I see a 3-bar reversal, if I see this market consolidate, then I'm going to add to this position looking for continuation to the long side. So we'll see. My stop loss is going to be below this pivot, below this pivot as well. And we'll see what happens from this. Moving on, I did talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is another one that I was looking to trade. I'm testing out Bitcoin, where I'm not comfortable trading Bitcoin yet, and whenever I'm trading, I want to make sure I'm doing it in a test account. And here's what I'm doing. Whenever I'm trying out a new market, I do it in a test account. And this is exactly one of them. I'm actually going to tighten up my risk and add to this position because I want to risk about $500 for this trade. So there we go. So $500 on this. There's my risk right below 92,025. I'm actually going to keep it at 91.95. And so I'm looking for Bitcoin to rally back up. So let's get to some questions. I know it's only been 20 minutes and a lot has happened. I'm going to watch Nikkei because Nikkei is the one that I wanted to build a position in. And yeah, there we go. Let's take a look at this and we will go from there. Let's get to some questions. Coach Shoop, Dakota, by the way, it is going to roll in the next couple days. Coach Shoop, are you talking about the Nikkei or the NASDAQ? How do you pick your stop? So for this example that you guys see in front of me, which is the Nikkei, I'm simply doing it because there is some support and resistance right here at 38,200, 38,180, and my stop's going to be right below that. What is your drawdown limit for your accounts? I have a daily loss limit. My daily loss limit I put at 5,000. I don't want to risk more than $5,000 in my account, and that's just me personally. Do you use a trailing stop? If so, how often? I do. I trail it manually. Whenever there is a point to be trailed, I do trail it. Let's get to some more questions. What is it? I fade J. I have a question. What is the 3-bar reversal and when should we take them and when should we avoid them? Google that. I fade J. I talk about it almost every single night, talking about 3-bar reversals. When to use them and when to avoid them depends on the day, right? If it's a trending day, 3-bar reversals can work out a lot more. If it's a consolidation day, it depends. It really depends. What percentage is my drawdown? It's 1%. 1% is my drawdown. Just over 1%. Actually, it's like 1.5% is my drawdown for my account. What is the style of trailing a trade? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Dakota, do you ever trade the NASDAQ through a QQQ chart? I don't. I do not trade the NASDAQ through the Qs. I do not. This trade just is working out a little too well. Trades work out too well sometimes. I wanted to get into a bigger position size. We're getting a 3-bar reversal right there. Dang. Let's see. This might be one that I trail. This is definitely going to be one that I do trail. What's your profit target on the Nikkei? I'm not sure. If I got into multiple positions, I would definitely look to close out one for profit right here around 400 and then trail the rest, looking for us to come back and test maybe 550s. Maybe we could make a run and a test of right here at 440. So these 3 levels is what I would consider. If I was in 3 contracts, I'll have 1, 2, 3. Or if I was in 4 contracts, I'll do 1, 2, 3 and keep a runner on. Maybe that one isn't a target. Maybe, I don't know. It depends on how this market reacts. I like to trail it manually, and I do like to get into multiple contracts in order to trail it. What is your profit target on the Nikkei evening slow markets? What do you think of the winning? What do you think for adding to a winning position? I think adding to winners can be a very good thing, right? Because you're adding to a position that's already going in your favor. Why not in live? Because I'm not going to be testing out Bitcoin in live. That's the thing. Is I'm testing Bitcoin. I'm trading Bitcoin, and I don't trade it. I've only been trading this for 1 week, and I will never trade a market that I'm not used to in a live account unless I have a few months experience and I gain that comfortable. So my goal is to see how Bitcoin reacts, get used to it, and I'm testing it out, and then I'm also holding a class, I'm coaching, and so there is an aspect of trying to do both, right? So trying to do both can be very difficult. Why you don't want to get NQ when it pulls back? Because I kind of explained that when I first started class. It is I mean, that's the advantage of getting. So I do start slow markets, everybody. I start slow markets at 7:30 p.m. and I jump into the markets. I do analysis, and the first thing I talk about is the Nasdaq. So rewatch the first part because I explained the Nasdaq. I explained what I was waiting for. Yes, I would love to buy pullbacks in a bullish market. Nasdaq is now bullish for the last couple days. We do have Nvidia earnings tomorrow, so that's going to be a big role and play a big factor of what's going on in this market. It's fine. That's why it's recorded, so you can always feel free to rewatch it. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube, is it's recorded, and you can always rewatch it. So what I want to see is consolidation here on the Nikkei, and then I'm going to add to this position. I'm also watching, and I'm going to keep an eye on Bitcoin because I have been trying to find a way to trade Bitcoin to the long side, scalping. If we consolidate, I might add to that as well. And then, of course, looking and watching the Nasdaq. And I'm going to split this up. I'm going to keep on. Let's take a look at. I'm going to keep one of these charts. Let's go like that. I'm going to keep one on Bitcoin, and I'm going to keep one on the Nikkei. So I could watch both my trades at the time, and then we could have some good conversations. 1 second. Let me adjust one thing on my end. Let's go here, here. All right, let's get to a few more questions. Why do I prefer the Nasdaq over the ES? It's just personal preference. That's it. I don't have anything against like the ES. The ES is actually, to be honest, if I was to recommend the market, I would recommend the ES over the Nasdaq. ES is a lot more consistent than the Nasdaq. It's not as wild. It's not as crazy and hectic. So that's why that's why I would recommend the ES over the Nasdaq. What's the most contracts I've ever traded on the Nikkei? I've traded 30. I've had 30 contracts on the Nikkei, but that was one where I was building a position as it was going in my favor. What about YM? I haven't really traded the YM. Haven't really traded the YM on that. The questions. I'm going to go ahead and actually add to this position. I'm going to add to this position if it will give it to me. I like that we're holding this support. Risking about 1,000. Okay, there we go. I like that risk. We're going to watch this. We're going to see these markets, see what happens. How much did you make off the 30? I can't remember. I don't know. It was during spring or summer this year. I do not remember. Why do you use a limit to add? Because I don't like market orders. I really do not like market orders because when I want to get into a price and when I want to get into the market, I love limit orders for getting in. I typically like limit orders for getting out as well. I don't like market orders. The only time I would be okay with the market order is if I immediately want to get in and I'm like time is an issue or I immediately want to get out, right? Like if the market changes and say the market's going against me or I just need to get out, I'll close it using it at the market. A market order to me is a last resort for getting in or out of a market. Can you explain on finding levels of interest? I do something as simple as support and resistance. Levels of interest, support and resistance. For example, over here on the left is Bitcoin. And so over here on the left-hand side, I am simply looking at a buy the dip mentality, right? And I'm just saying every time we've sold off, it's as simple as buying, right? This is just an example. So level of interest, whenever we sell off and we get down to this trend line, can very well be a level of interest. Over here on the Nikkei, I'm looking at this zone. This is a zone. So I'm looking for this zone right around 38,260. These are zones to become support again. And yeah, they're not exact levels, and it's just very basic, simple support and resistance. If anything, I would say risk management is the key when it comes to like finding a trade around it. Phoenix, if you were to start trading today, what do you recommend to someone who never traded before? I would recommend finding something very, very simple and trying to do that consistently and repeatedly and focus on the risk management side. The more you can simplify stuff, everybody, the easier it really gets for you as a trader. Just simplify, simplify, simplify. The more you simplify, the better off you are in every aspect. Heating oil looks like it has decent price action as of late. Have you traded heating oil? I have not traded heating oil. After my 5th year of trading, drawdowns are what I need to overcome. How do you manage drawdowns? Segi, that is everybody's struggle. It could be my struggle. It's everybody I talk to deals with drawdowns. Everybody, every trader. This is why you guys see me kind of a little bit passionate today on social media, on Twitter. You guys probably seen that, right? If you missed it, there's the reason to see and to watch was I of course post a screenshot. I don't mind sharing when I take losses. Losses are part of the game. I think it's very important to show absolutely everything. If you're going to take a screenshot and be excited and be very loud about when you make money, you should be able to do the same of when you lose money instead of just hiding half of the stuff. So I really do believe that every trader I've ever talked to goes through drawdowns. Equity curves do not just go straight up. They don't. They don't go straight up. There's ups and downs. Nobody's trading with 100% win rate. Outside, I mean, outside of like maybe institutes, I don't know. And then again, nobody wins every single day, right? Nobody wins every single day. That's the reality. If somebody's saying that they win every single day, then something's off. Something's wrong. You really will see traders go through drawdowns weekly, right? Whether it's a daily drawdown, whether it's a weekly drawdown, or whatever it is, right? I mean, I've been on win streaks. I've had a win streak of probably 20 days has been my best win streak. 20 days, to me, it has been my best win streak. 20 days. And very rarely do I have a stretch of 5-6 days of win streaks. I'd be surprised if I get a 5-day win streak. Sometimes when I do get 5 days of just winning days in a row, then it's like, okay, well, this is just unrealistic. I'm going to keep doing my same process, right? You guys hear me say every single time, process over profits, process over profits. We need to follow the process regardless of whether we are, on a big win streak or we are in a drawdown. We need to make sure we are continuing to follow the same exact process every single time. And so to answer that question is, how does a trader get out of a drawdown? And I would say the same thing. You follow your process. What got you there? What's allowed you to, be in the position you're at? Following that process when you start to make money, or you start, you're seeing your equity curve. And as soon as you get a drawdown, maybe you just take a break. Maybe you go take the weekend off, take an extra day off, take a break, come back, and just know that the same way that you passed the combine, the same way that you've been trading, you need to follow that exact same process no matter what. And so It's a lot easier said than done. It really is. But you need to understand every single trade you place is just a data point. It really is. Like this trade over here on Bitcoin, it's a data point. This trade over here on the Nikkei, it's just a data point. If I lose, that's okay. If I win, no big deal. Like it's not a big deal. Every individual trade is not that big of a deal. It really is not. Of course, every once in a while you'll get into a really good position and have a really, really good day, and it feels great. But just as equal, you can have a very, very negative day, and understand that you don't want to put yourself in a position where you blow your entire day. And when I review trader statistics, maybe we'll review a few statistics tonight, and you'll see it. I'll find someone's statistics. Most likely, we've been through that where you are trading really, really well, and then one day you end up blowing your account, or one day you end up losing a whole week's worth of profits, where you don't want to put yourself in a position for that. You would rather, know that, hey, I can have a bad day and it's not going to ruin my entire week. Some Oreos. Why some Oreos? AVS 30 days. Or you could be Delesh. Delesh is an exception to the rule when you're going for a couple dollars a day. What's a personal daily loss limit is good for? That is what a personal daily loss limit is good for. Yes, if you have a personal daily loss limit, it's important. It really is. It prevents you from getting emotional. It prevents you from self-sabotage, prevents you from losing more than you probably should have. Matthew. Yeah, Delesh it's entertainment. I will say that is entertainment. No one should strive to go for $2 a day, right? Because process over profits. Here's the thing is, if you guys seen Topstep TV during fast markets, there's the leaderboard and there's the win streaks, right? Going back to what we were talking about on win streaks, where don't expect win streaks. Don't think, to be honest, I wouldn't even consider win streaks to be anything. Every single day is a new day. Every single day you need to look at it as a new day, and a win streak should mean nothing. A losing streak should be nothing as well. If you're on a winning streak, you need to look at it the same way as if you're on a losing streak, winning streak. It's all the same if you are really focusing on your process. Scott, yeah, there's something to that. If you don't trade and if you break even, then you are profitable more than 98% of traders if you are able to break even. That is a reality, right? If you could break even for an entire year, you are officially a better trader than 98% of traders. It's interesting to think of it like that. It really is. So take no trades. Well, you want to make money, but just put it in that type of a perspective. Is if you break even for an entire year, you're already in the top 10% of traders, or however you want to do that math, but put that in perspective. Like really put it in perspective. And so that should put you in the mindset of realizing trading's not just about making money. Trading is actually more about not losing it, right? I mean, hey, let's go. We're going to start today, and my goal is to not lose money or follow process and limit my risk. Find ways to limit my risk. Find ways to put my trades in a position to where I could limit the risk and have a positive expectancy by following my process. Shooting for home runs is what kills your account. Yep, I've experienced it myself. Sometimes I catch myself doing the same thing, thinking like, oh man, I should have taken profit on some of these trades. I realized that not today. Today was, and today I lost $5,000, and I reviewed everything, and it was just one of those days where no matter how I traded, I would have lost money. I would have lost money today based off of the price action. Like, here's the New York session, and based off of this price action this morning, this is the New York session that I traded. On this price action, I know for a fact, no matter what, if this same price action happened tomorrow, I will lose money. That's what this market is based off of the way I trade. This will cause me to lose money. This price action. I had 3 trades. I had a short right around here, and this one was one winner because that was a good winner. I shorted right there. I took profit somewhere right down here, but then I shorted again, which is still valid, and I lost money. And then I got into another short based off of a 3-bar reversal, right? Because I know the way I trade. And to me, this is a 3-bar reversal on the 5-minute chart. And we were at a decent area of resistance. So I was looking at, there's resistance here. And there was resistance here, along with this major selling pressure and along with everything that's happened because the market structure changed based off that news. And we were selling off. And so I was selling this. And if I was to trade today's price action 100 times, I would lose money 100 times based off of the process that I follow. And that's just assuming I don't know what's going to happen, right? Or it's like, well, I don't know what exactly is going to be happening. I will lose money. If I've seen it before, then yeah, of course. Like, oh, I know today's going to just go up. So that is why, like, I knew for a fact, no matter what happened, and no matter how I adjusted my trading, I would lose money based off of this price action this morning. And it's based off of this, right? This price action. This is the price action that caught me. After that, I didn't trade. I had no trades, anything outside of that. This was the trading price action. I traded and I lost money. And it was pure and simple based off of a higher time frame, based off of my analysis I did earlier, right? Because I was looking at this market, and we had this massive sell-off, right? This massive sell-off on Friday, and we did try and find, and we tried to make market structure. We tried to find buyers, right? So, support, and we were making higher lows. I explained this at the beginning of class, and then sure enough, I was looking at today with a bearish mindset, which to me is very, very valid, and saying, okay, well, we're selling off this trend. And this is where sometimes it's when traders tell me, why don't you follow the trend? And if you tell me, and you're looking at this, okay, and you say, what direction is this trend, right? I'm pulling up this chart, and you tell me, what direction is this trend? Okay, who's going to tell me this trend's bullish? No, nobody's going to tell me that this trend's bullish. Not off of what you see right here. Now, what if we bring out more, right? Well, now is this trend bullish, right? Then we look at this one and you can say, well, is this trend bullish? Well, okay, yeah, now there's an argument to say that this is bullish. And then you could keep doing that. And you could zoom out even more and say, well, now this is bullish. And then you could zoom in. And so it's 100% about perspective and the way that you trade and your process. So, and it depends on the time frame that you're trading. So based off of this, is this a pullback or is it a continuation? Well, when you first woke up and based off of this to me looked like it was going to be just a simple pullback, right? So of course, like, okay, well, this is a pullback. And so I'm looking for this thing to have continuation. We did break Friday's low, And the fact that we did break Friday's low, I was looking for either consolidation or a continuation down lower. And then we want to zoom into, say, a 5-minute chart, and traders like, well, why didn't you follow the trend? Well, at what point is it considered a bullish trend, right? Because that's what we have to determine as a trader, is we have to determine what is a trend, how do we define the trend, and how do we find a bullish trend, and how do we define a bearish trend? Well, I like to define trends based off of market structure. So I will define a trend, and I did that during fast markets. I personally define a trend as, either higher lows, lower lows, higher lows, and so forth. So what I was looking at this morning, based off of the price action I seen, was here's a high, here's a lower high, here is a lower high, here is a low, here is a lower low, and here is a lower low. So by definition, this to me is a bearish trend. And this is, of course, on a shorter term, where you could even go as far back as this, right? Here's a low, here is a low. So technically, by definition, I can say low, or here's a high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We are trending down. Here's a low, lower low, lower low, lower low. We are trending down. So going into the New York trading session without having any idea of what the future holds, right? Because we don't have the power of hindsight, then we look at this, and that's why I was short, right? I short right here during the New York session, and it worked out beautifully. That was a great trade. I made $2,500 on that trade. And then we consolidated a little bit, and as we was consolidating, there was no reason for me to think that we can just break up, which, we can. Market could do whatever it wants. However, technically, based off of price action, I'm looking at this as becoming a lower high, and I was looking for the market to sell off and make either an equal low, maybe come down and test where we open. I wasn't looking for too crazy, and maybe even be able to have it and hold a runner to break the session low. And then, but sure enough, we did start and we broke. That was my loss, right? I'm like, okay, great. Is this the low? Because to me, and this one is where there's a little bit of discretion. Is this a higher low, right? Is this a higher low? That's debatable, right? Because I want to see a higher low first. If I was going to think that this was going to reverse, I would think that maybe we come down a little bit deeper, consolidate, and then reverse. And so, obviously with hindsight, you can say, well, that was the higher low and we reversed, right? And so we got up to here, and I ended up saying, okay, well, we could run for liquidity, which to me at the time it did. And so this is an area of resistance. We have a resistance. We started to show a 3-bar reversal. So this to me was a 3-bar reversal, even though this bar did not close, this bar right here did not close below the previous bar. It did break it, and I do get in a little bit earlier because I do like that higher risk reward. So I got in short, and then boom, loss, right? And then we started just chop, right? Green bar, red bar, 2 green bars, 1 red, and then I was done. I was done after that point. And then you could say, well, guess what? Now we're trending up and to the right. And to me, the trend officially reversed somewhere right here. It's easy to say, okay, yeah, the trend reversed there, which to some traders it might. But the trend to me reversed once we broke through this high. Once we broke through and held, and I take that loss, that is where longs and traders who are shorting this right here just took a loss, locked myself out, minus 5,000, great, move on to tomorrow. And sometimes that's tough. And then with hindsight, yeah, it's easy, oh, well, we were holding support, we're starting to find buyers, but there still wasn't a great pullback. The decent pullback obviously came around lunchtime, maybe there was an opportunity here to where I could say, okay, we're officially making higher lows. So where you come in here and say, what's a higher low? And then we're looking for these higher lows. And then you could come in and now you could classify these higher lows, but they're not that big of a swing. These are not big movements. It's a rough one when you don't have these swings and these pivots. And now we compare that to Monday. Okay, so let's compare this price action. Let's compare it to Monday. So Monday I traded amazing. If you guys remember, I reviewed that and I actually bought right down here. So I was buying down here, wherever it was, and I caught most of this move. So, why was today different? Well, exactly what I said. Price action where we can sell off and we visibly made a higher low. So we visibly made a higher low. So if anything changed, I probably would have lost. But now that we had this very nice opportunity for a higher low, then, sure enough, that was a beautiful trade. If we had something like that today, oh man, I would have loved it. I would have absolutely loved it. Where today during the New York session, if we did sell off down here, and maybe we did get that move I was looking for, I would have closed my shorts. I would have profited on the short side. But then, I know for a fact that I would be looking for some type of reversal here and possibly an opportunity to see the same thing we did yesterday. And it didn't give it to me. It gave it to some who probably seen that, but not to me. Today was a losing day. Do you have a specific risk reward? Not really. I don't say this trade is going to be exactly a 3-to-1. No.